Hello guys, I hope you are doing well at home. So don't waste your time and keep studying as the days are coming near. So in the last class I think I was talking about ionization energy, right? And after that we have solved some questions related with that. And from here onwards, like other periodic properties I wanted to just address on. And if anybody is still not solving the questions, then trust me, you're wasting your time. Okay, unless you solve the questions, you can at this time, especially at this peak time, you cannot expect that you're doing well. Okay, so hoping that you're doing well, let's move ahead. Let me talk about some periodic properties, that is electron affinity. So what is an electron affinity? By definition, what is an electron affinity? We know, like electron negativity we have seen, the relative tendency of an atom to attract shared pair of electrons. But this is what electron affinity is. Affinity means same, energy released whenever energy released when an atom gains an electron and becomes what charge? And become negatively charged, anion. In case of ionization energy, the atom becomes positively charged. In case of electron affinity, the atom becomes anion, negatively charged. Okay, so for example, metal plus one electron will form M minus. To form this particular chemical reaction, the energy change is called as what? Electron affinity. And basically remember, this electron affinity is always negatively charged or positively charged. What do you say? Is it negatively charged or positively charged? The first energy that is required to add an electron will always be positive. Okay, it will always be what? Positive. Whereas if you talk about for the second one, that is M minus plus one electron to become M minus 2, this will always be negative. Okay, now why positive, why negative? I have told you during the classes. Positive means energy is absorbed to let the electron inside. Negative means I have to supply energy so that the repulsive force is, this is negative, this is also negative. So to overcome the repulsive force, energy is given to the system. Yes or no? So in that case we can say. And if you talk about change in the enthalpy, delta H is equals to negative for this one, and for this one delta H is equals to positive. What is delta H? Gibbs free energy. Okay, so remember the point, that is E electron affinity 2, EA2 will always be what? Positive. Okay, then what are the factors affecting the electron affinity? The following factors are there. That is the first one, that is size. As size increases, electron affinity will dash. As size increases, tendency to attract the electron will decrease, right? Then another factor, that is as Z effective increases. What is Z effective? Z effective is nothing but Z minus sigma. Z effective. How to calculate the sigma values I have told you. So Z effective, as Z effective increases, what will happen? Electron affinity will dash again. Electron affinity, Z effective means Z minus sigma, more effective atomic number. If more atomic number, that means electrons are readily accepted, EA value will increase. Then other one, that is electronic configuration. So if there is a stable electronic configuration, then also to add an electron to that, okay, that will also be what? Stable electronic configuration means half filled and fully filled. Okay, so they will have what? Smaller or negative EA value. This will be what? Negative EA value. Why negative? Because they do not want to accept that electron. Are you understanding? Because they are already stable. If they are already stable, they are least interested in accepting the electron. So I should supply energy such that they become whatever the elemental with negative charge. Okay, and if you talk about periodicity, what is happening to the periodicity? From left to right, what will happen? From left to right, electron affinity will increase, right? And from top to bottom, electron affinity will decrease. Now again, for this reason, the reason is what? Z effective is increasing. And whenever you talk about left to right, remember we speak with respect to z effective. Whenever we talk from top to bottom, we speak with respect to size. ఓకే, సో ఇది పీరియాడిక్ ప్రాపర్టీ యొక్క డిసైడింగ్ ఫ్యాక్టర్, డామినియన్ ఫ్యాక్టర్ అంటాం అనమాట. ఓకే, సరే. ఇప్పుడు ఇర్రెగ్యులారిటీస్ ఏమైనా ఉన్నాయా? వీ హ్యావ్ ఇర్రెగ్యులారిటీస్ ఆల్సో. దట్ ఈస్ యాజ్ ఐ సెడ్ జస్ట్ నౌ, beryllium case. Beryllium case is what? Fully filled. So in the second period, lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine and neon, you will find like the electron affinity normally from left to right. Normal trend enti, it should increase. It is increasing. But cases like beryllium with boron, if I compare, nitrogen with oxygen if I compare, and neon, okay, they are all stable configurations. So they don't accept the electron. They will not readily accept the electron. So that is one exception you have to remember about beryllium, nitrogen and neon. So if they are not readily accepting, that means EA value will be what? Negative. Are you understanding? Fine. Then there is one exception. The second one also, that is with respect to the third period elements is greater than second period elements in terms of electron affinity. That is third period, that is boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine if I compare, these values are having lesser ones. Okay, and aluminium, then silicon, phosphorus, sulfur and chlorine, they have relatively high electron affinity than these fellows. Majorly questions will be related with nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Do remember this. With respect to phosphorus, with respect to sulfur, with respect to chlorine, they will have higher electron affinity. Okay, even though fluorine is smallest in atom, it is lesser electron affinity than chlorine. This is most important question also. Why is fluorine is less electron affinity than chlorine even though being smaller in size? Because due to smaller size, electron repulsions will take place. Electron repulsion will be dominating. Hence fluorine atom cannot accommodate that single electron that is freshly entering. So repulsive force dominating ante it is not readily accepting the electron. Okay, and whereas electron negativity, if I talk about, fluorine is the highest. Okay, so in terms of electronegativity, that also let's talk about electronegativity. So electronegativity. So in terms of electronegativity, by definition, you know what is that relative tendency of an atom to attract shared pair of electrons is called as electronegativity. Okay, and electron affinity has some units, whereas electronegativity do not have units because it is a relative term. Okay, and electron affinity absolute value we can calculate. Okay, exact value of electron affinity, but electron negativity absolute values we cannot calculate. Again, why? Because it is a relative term. Now this electron negativity, to calculate we have three scales. One is Pauling scale, other one is Millikan scale, and there is also one more scale, that is Alfred Rorschach scale. Okay, so three scales are there. Fine. So these things also I have told in the class. You have the main things are Pauling's and Mulligan's. Okay, so in terms of Pauling scale, the following points are necessary. What is that? Delta, difference in the electronegativity, is equals to XA minus XP. That is difference. Formula 0.208 under root of electron affinity, that is bond dissociation energy of AB, minus under root of EAA into EBB. Normally this formula based question is never asked in MSET. It is for useful for JE students. Okay, so where EA bond is bond dissociation enthalpy of AB bond, EAA represents bond dissociation enthalpy of AA bond, and EBB represents about bond dissociation enthalpy of BB bond. Okay, and everything is in kilocalories per mole. All the units, the energies are all in kilocalories per mole. Okay, and it can also be written as delta is equals to XA minus XP, that is equals to 0.1017 under root of same thing, EAB minus EAA into EBB. Okay, and this formula we can use when all the bond dissociation energy is in that is kilocalories, this is kilojoules per mole. So only the thing is conversion factor 0.1017, 0.208. If it is 208 kilocalories, if it is 1017 kilojoules per mole. Okay, then in terms of some elements, you should be remembering their electronegative values. That is lithium. If you plot the elements of various things, what are all the elements that are similar? Okay, so we have lithium, beryllium, boron, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, fluorine. Below nitrogen we have phosphorus, sulfur, chlorine, bromine and iodine. Okay, so carbon's electronegativity, which is 2.5. I told you to remember it like this. From here add 0.5, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, right? So I just want to circle one fellows, like carbon is similar with iodine. Okay, so iodine is also electronegativity according to Pauling scale is 2.5. Then we also have phosphorus. Let me write it in rectangle. Phosphorus is similar to we have hydrogen, that is 2.1. Okay, phosphorus is also around 2.1, hydrogen is also again 2.1. So hydrogen and phosphorus almost are having same things. And here we also have silic, that is sulfur, also like carbon, 2.5. Okay, then nitrogen, let me put box, and chlorine, this fellow, they both have same electronegative values according to Pauling scale. Okay, and according to Mulliken scale, if you talk about, so that's the information about Pauling scale. And Mulliken scale thing, main thing is the formula. According to Mulliken scale, electronegativity is equals to, as I already said in the first video also, it is the average of ionization energy and electron affinity. This formula is most important. He'll give you the value of this and ask you to find this, or he'll give you the value of electronegativity, or by the information given, and he may ask you to find out the ionization energy, giving these two things. So it's a very simple formula. Okay, and it is valid only for electron affinity which are positive. Okay, remember this, electron affinity which are positive. Okay, and the values are all in electron volts per atom. Remember this, Mulliken scale, this formula is applicable only for electron affinity which are what, positive values. Okay, and the values are always taken in electron volts per atom. Okay, and one relationship that is with respect to Pauling and Mulliken is electronegativity of Pauling. If you talk about with respect to Mulliken and electronegativity of Pauling, if you relate these two things, it is approximately equals to 2.8. Okay, this thing also you can remember this, so that to find out the Mulliken scale, either you can find this way, or if not information is given this thing, then you can relate this formula also. Okay, then factors affecting the electron negativity. So what are the factors? These factors also most of you know it. What happens first, as size increases, what will happen, electron negativity will, as size increases, electron negativity will decrease. Then another factor, that is Z effective. As Z effective increases, what is happening, electron negativity, tendency to attract will increase. Okay, so these are the two important relations. And as sigma, that is shielding, increases, as sigma increases, this is shielding effect or shielding constant increases, then also we will find like electronegativity will decrease. More shield means attracting power is decreasing. Okay, so these are the things. And the charge, if you talk about the charge cases, cationic charges, let me write like this, charge on cationic species, order is important. Either you can apply the logic things that I have told you, but you can remember A plus 3, A plus 2 is greater than A plus 1. Okay, and if you talk about anions case, no, it is reverse, charge on anions species. So what will happen, A minus 3 is less than A minus 2 is less than A minus. Okay, and the most important one with respect to the electronegativity is the hybridization. Okay, remember this simple formula, that is percentage of S character is, as percentage of S character increases, electron or force of attraction also increases, and electronegativity will also increase. So remember this simple relation. Everything is directly proportional. Suppose if this question was asked sp, sp2 and sp3, give the order of their electronegativities. So sp, in sp 50% is character, so more force of attraction, electronegativity is highest. So sp is greater than sp2 is greater than sp3. Okay, directly they will give you the relation, or they will say out of ethane and ethylene. Okay, so give the order of electronegativities. So ethene meaning double bonded, ethane meaning single bonded, and ethyne meaning triple bonded. So in the triple bonded we have the hybridization as what? Sp, and in single bonded we have sp3, in double bond we have what? Sp2. So depending upon the hybridization also you can identify that this order will be there. So just remember this relation: percentage of S character is proportional to force of attraction, proportional to electronegativity. Okay, and apart from that also one more relation that I wanted to say is, I'm writing it on the top, that is, see, if you know the percentage of electronegativity, you can predict the nature of bond. Okay, that is, if the electronegativity difference XA is equals to XB, then we can say it will form pure covalent bond. Okay, suppose if it is forming that is, if XA is not equal to XB, then we can say like it is partly ionic and covalent, right? It is, then also you cannot say that it is pure ionic. Partly covalent plus partly ionic bond. Okay, and if according to the Pauling scale, if XA minus XB is equal, this is most important, XA minus XB, the difference is 1.7, then we say like it is 50% ionic. And if this difference, that is delta, I am writing as delta, if the delta is less than 1.7, if the delta is greater than 1.7, if it is less than 1.7, it is mostly covalent and less ionic. Okay, so mostly covalent and less ionic. Similarly, if it is greater than 1.7, then we say mostly ionic and less covalent. Okay, so in this way you can identify the that is which one is covalent or which one is ionic. And there is also a formula given, that is according to the we have a name, but Henry-Smith. Okay, how to find the percentage of ionic character, he gave a formula. Again, this is for MSET level, I don't think it will be much useful. Percentage of ionic character is equals to, the formula is 1 point, it is I think 1.616, I think 16, yeah. I would 16 times of difference plus 3.5 times of delta square, that is difference square, where delta is nothing but what? Difference, that is XA minus XB. Okay, so this formula is there for JEE students, it could be useful. Okay, and if the difference is coming out to be 2.1, then we can say like it is mostly of ionic, that is 50% ionic, not mostly, 50% ionic. So that's the deciding factor to understand which one is covalent and which one is ionic according to Pauling scale and Henry-Smith scale, or Henry-Smith's formula. Then talking about the nature of oxides, using the particular thing, that is electronegativity, we can identify the nature of oxides. Okay, that is, if you find, for example, let's say XOH bond, the elements difference from the oxygen atom, that is delta I. So delta 1, let me write, like for example, I have a metal oxide, so some metal and oxygen. This metal oxide of any element, if it is treated with some excess of water, if I treat, then it will definitely form hydroxide. So XOH, if this difference, like this difference between X and O and oxygen and hydrogen, if this difference is equals to 1.4, okay, that is not is equals to, range is 1.4. If the delta 1, I am talking about this one, this difference, if delta 1 is greater than 1.4, then it breaks down as X plus and OH minus. So anything which produces OH minus, that means what? It is a basic oxide. Okay, and otherwise if delta 1 is less than 1.4, then how does it break? It breaks down as XO minus plus H plus. So in this case it is acting like a acidic oxide. So this way also we can identify which is forming a basic oxide, which is forming acidic oxide, and depending on that we can say which one is metal, which one is non-metal. So this is also an information, okay, to be understood. Fine. And types of oxides, just now basic and acidic means acidic oxides are also there, like which produces on dissolving in water they will be acidic in nature, okay, and they will react with the base but not in a acid. Fine. And if you know, like acidic oxide on treating with acid, this some students will write a wrong reaction. Acidic oxide on reacting with acid, there is no reaction. Remember this. Any acidic oxide when treating with acid, no, will not find any reaction. Fine. And the other one, for that example I can say sulfur dioxide on treating with water, okay, it forms what? Sulfurous acid, that is H2SO3. Same thing if I treat with SO3 plus H2O, it forms sulfuric acid, H2SO4. And with carbon dioxide will form carbonic acid. So generally non-metallic oxides are acidic oxides. We have known this point. Non-metallic oxides are acidic in nature, and on the other hand metallic oxides are basic in nature. So you know that point, right? So if you wanted also you can write that basic oxides, that is Na2O, on treating with H2O will form NaOH. In the inorganic chemistry of sodium oxides of sodium we have discussed. In calcium also, on hydrolysis will form calcium hydroxide. So by this I can say metallic oxides are what? Metallic oxides are basic in nature. Okay, and apart from this there is also something called as amphoteric oxides. What are amphoteric oxides? As I said the other day, those oxides that are formed by the metals near to the metalloids, okay, like aluminium, beryllium, and like lead. Fine. So they generally form which one? Amphoteric oxides. Okay, and so that's all about the nature of oxides, nothing much. So majorly, like in the periodic classification of elements, from this area only it will be asked. And apart from this also you can also say like neutral oxides and amphiprotic oxides. The best example for amphiprotic oxide is water, H2O. H2O is what? Amphiprotic oxide. Now what is amphiprotic oxide? Which can accept and release H plus ion. So water can accept H plus ion. By accepting H plus ion, it forms what? H plus ion, it forms H3O plus, acidified water we call. Or it can also lose H plus or liberate H plus ions. So that which accepts and lose H plus ions, they are called as amphiprotic oxides. Okay, neutral oxides, you know, carbon monoxide, neutral oxide, then N2O, then nitric oxide, all these things are what? Neutral oxides. That means they do not react acids or bases. Okay, and in terms of periodicity, the metals are what? Strongly, first group elements, they are strongly basic. Second group, they will be having basic, and aluminum is amphoteric. And as you move from left to right completely, like Cl2O7, it is what? Acidic, right? Strongly acidic. In fact, let me write that series here. That is, if I talk sodium oxide, then magnesium oxide, then Al2O3, sodium, magnesium, silicon oxide, SiO2, then P2O5, then SO3, then Cl2O7. So this is basic, strongly basic, this is strongly acidic. Al2O3 is amphoteric, and from here it starts weakly acidic. This is also acidic, and this is strongly acidic, and this is also strongly acidic. Okay, and from top to bottom, what happens to the metallic character? Increases. So basic character also should increase. And what else are there? In terms of the oxidation states also, in P block elements we'll study. Suppose I have MnO, Mn2O3, MnO2, MnO3, and Mn2O7. out of these oxides give the order of acidic nature, he will say. So depending upon the oxidation states, higher the oxidation states, more is the acidic character. So here in Mn what is +2, so it is the least, and this is +3 greater and +4, so it is increasing, right? +6, and lastly it is what, +7. So as the oxidation state or oxidation state of manganese increases, as oxidation state or oxidation number increases, acidic nature also increases. So this is the point. Okay, so mostly these are the things, so you can just revise these points, and I have told it superficially in the class, I have explained it in detail. So overall revision of periodic classification is this. Now do as many problems as possible, questions, not problems. Mathematical aspect, there is very less scope asking here in the periodic classification. So mostly you should understand the logical questions, order from left to right, what will happen, from top to bottom what will happen, what is the nature of its oxide, acidic, basic, order, solubility, all these things. Okay, so with this we stop. Hopefully in the next class we'll talk about the group 1 elements. Prepare well for your test. Okay, all right, stay home, stay safe.